Well, greetings, viewers and voyeurs. You're with Got That Funk, and recently I've watched quite a few videos on the subject of Pastor Terry Jones having burned the Quran and the reaction in Afghanistan by some Muslim extremists, which resulted in the death of some 13 UN workers. And there's been discussions about whether or not Pastor Jones is to blame for the deaths of these UN workers. My friend Boogie Napalm, who I revere, was basically saying that Pastor Jones is totally responsible for those deaths because if he hadn't burned the Quran, those people would still be alive right now. That on one level that seems to make sense, and I'm sure that certain people out there. I watched a video by Ominous Voice and Danny Schloss, who were basically saying the same thing. That there's a direct causal chain going on. I watched a video by Bossman103 and a video by jonpaulprime and also Sarahan06. And Sarahan was basically taking the opposite side of the coin and saying, look, the murderers are obviously responsible for the murders they committed. You can't really draw the line anywhere else. I tend to fall down on that side of the coin. As far as I'm concerned, human beings are responsible for their own actions. Full stop. And the murderers in Afghanistan are responsible for their actions. What Terry Jones is responsible for is burning the Quran. And he's responsible for the anger that burning the Quran caused. How those people dealt with their anger is totally up to them. They could have just burned a Bible. They could have risen above it and said, we think you are silly, but we're not going to fall for your bait. There is an infinite number of possible reactions that didn't have to involve the murder of innocent people. They fell for the bait. Pastor Jones did know full well that he was inciting hatred. But inciting hatred does not have to equal inciting violence. Inciting violence is when you incite a riot, is when you actually stand there in front of a crowd of people and say, screw the police, ransack and loot all these shops, or something like that. Then you are actually inciting a riot. You're actually inciting violence. If you pay someone to kill someone else, you have some blame for that murder, even though you didn't personally pull the trigger. Incitement isn't so straightforward, though, when it's causing anger. I think Terry Jones is 1,000% responsible for pissing a lot of Muslims off. I would just say 100% responsible, but since he did it deliberately knowing it would piss them off, I think he's even more responsible than, it was an irresponsible thing to do. And I hate to be in a position where I could be seen to be supporting what he did, because I don't support it at all. I think it was retarded and irresponsible. But I also think that the very worst he can be accused of inciting is hatred. How people deal with their own emotions is up to those people. Muslims who are very sensitive about their religion and about their holy book still have a conscience. They still know killing is wrong. Their holy book should never be more important than human life. That's all I've got to say. This has Got That Funk. Thanks for watching, and may all your ups and downs be ups.